Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unsolicited Opinions podcast. I am your host, of course, the Meerkat Monarch, sometimes known as the author, Lillevik. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Artivous Ira, and our very good German friend, Shrek, is also here. But I completely forgot to put your picture up. I feel so fucking guilty. I'm oppressing the Germans.
So you should.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently that's all the rage.
As if they need help being oppressed.
I know, right?
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I've been gone a couple of weeks, but you guys have been running the fort, so that's been okay, I guess. I don't know. But there's been a bit of an eventful week, and we got a bunch of topics, but we didn't really plan out this show because I was kind of I haven't been I've been working a lot, so yeah. But
he's too good for us now.
Yeah, let's wait with the evil getting banned topic until he actually shows up, or
if he shows up.
Yeah, if he shows up. So let's start with I don't like personal drama, and I don't like the Schadenfreude I'm necessarily feeling over this, but it is very, very funny, and Artivous wanted to talk about this, so let's talk about Josh Whedon.
Well,
Okay.
I have no problem with Schadenfreude, considering we invented that word.
Yeah, exactly. I figured you of all people would fucking hail it like a victory.
I would just like to point out, have you ever cheated on your wife so much that you gave her PTSD? Because that's what Josh Whedon did.
I mean,
She got outright diagnosed with PTSD.
Yeah.
From getting cheated on so much. Like that's almost admirable. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Misogyny. Like that's I don't even know how you even do that. Like how much general ass like he had to have been sleeping with fucking everybody.
Well, to be fair, at least he didn't ask her to rate him on Tinder.
Damn.
Oh, like, and it makes so many of his creative decisions make total sense now.
Oh yeah. I'm seeing a lot of the the series that he has made with very young female leads over the years. I'm seeing that in a completely different light now.
Yeah, now those shows are super creepy to watch because now it's play a game of who didn't he fuck.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you kneel down and speak into the purple microphones?
Dude, I'm not falling for that again. Buffy. I'm not falling for that again, okay? Because you keep your gayness in your pants, dude. It's So
you look at Buffy and you see him firing one of his actresses because she got pregnant.
Yeah.
Buffy and Joel. And you look at actresses that got roles that. Yeah.
Okay, before we go too deep into this, we should probably present the actual fucking case.
Dr. Horrible sing-along blog. There's no way she got that role without giving dough.
Okay, yeah, but before you go deeper into that analysis, should we maybe present the actual events that happened? I mean,
I could do that.
Yeah,
basically over the weekend, Josh Whedon's wife decided to blog out her story of abuse, which is what it was at the hands of Josh Whedon in terms of his promiscuity and just how much he was actually a hypocrite. for 15 years, apparently, the entirety of their marriage, he was cheating on her with pretty much everybody. That's why I made the statement, imagine cheating on your wife so much that you gave her PTSD.
Now, my question is here: does anybody keeping a list of like who the 5 big Gamergate critics are left that haven't been?
Mombot has a list of Gamergate critics that have turned out to be either extremely misogynistic hypocrites, sexual harassers, or convicted rapists at this point. And Josh Whedon is number 13.
Yeah,
he's either 12 or 13 because there was another dude like literally like a couple days afterwards.
I'd suspect Will Wheaton for some perversity as well, but we already know he's a cuckold, so that's a joke, by the way. That's a joke. I don't actually think is being cuckold because I
totally think Josh Whedon may have fucked his wife, but but like that whole
we are definitely getting banned from YouTube after this. This is just.
I think what I think is hilarious about the whole thing is when you look at like what she said. His explanation of it is he didn't take responsibility for his actions. He fucking blamed society. No, this is what society told me to do, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the majority of people would call you a fucking asshole for what you did.
Yeah.
Male or female. There's nothing about, oh yeah, like if you were single and you were getting that much tail from Hollywood, then even then we'd still call you nasty. But you were married the entire fucking time you were involved in Hollywood. The entire time you were.
Yeah, you this is almost R. Kelly level.
No. No, I wouldn't go that far, Shrek. I mean, it's creepy as fuck, but it's not, you know.
I said almost.
Perhaps they hang out.
Oh Jesus. No, I'm not denying that it's creepy at all. But I'm just
season of Trapped in the Closet is going to be amazing.
Yeah, but it's
gonna have Scarlett Johansson.
I happen to know this business pretty not inside out, not on the highest level, but I do.
Okay,
yeah, phrasing.
Okay, wait. So how many dicks did you have to suck?
That's the problem. That's why I'm no longer in the movie business because I didn't want to suck cock. So yeah, that's. No, but it is
at this point. It is standard in contracts.
No, but there is something about attracting women by working in the industry at some level. So if you, for instance, if you drop that you have worked as a producer or you work as a producer in front of young prospective actresses, then that usually gets some attention. I've seen that happen on several occasions. So it's not uncommon that it happens. It's just it sort of doesn't surprise me that it has happened with him, but it is the abuse of power as far as him being like a showrunner. And
don't you take this funny topic and make it serious?
No. I'm not.
That ugly, that gigantic four-headed, bald, goofy, ginger-looking motherfucker was probably sleeping with your childhood crush.
Oh yeah, I'm dude. I had
a unclean.
Yeah.
No, see,
like think about how long that list is. All of the actresses that showed up on Buffy at some.
And here I am sitting back laughing.
Oh God, I had a huge crush on Alicia Dushko. He definitely.
Yeah. How do you think she got Dollhouse? How do you think she got her own?
Yeah, exactly.
Show?
Exactly.
That Dollhouse just looks like his own like personal fucking fuck harem. Because there's no way Alicia Dushku could have gotten that show without that.
Yeah.
Her range as an actress is not that good. She has to play the same character, or else
She's like a cheap version of Fairuza Balk. If you get my drift. Hello?
Not really.
No. Don't you know who Fairuza Balk is?
No.
Kraft. And Almost Famous.
Oh, the goth chick?
Yeah.
Oh, that's her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to have a crush on her when I was a kid, man. I didn't know I'd like goth chicks until Kraft.
Oh, apparently, according to
Josh
Angela,
Whedon fucked her too.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't. I don't think so, but I wouldn't discount it. But here's the thing. Angela said in chat, and I've heard this rumor before. The rumor is that Alicia Dushku was one of the ones he was screwing during Buffy, and she was struggling with alcohol and drug addiction at the time.
Just curious question.
Yeah.
How many Alicias do you think were in there?
Well, not that many. I mean, I don't think that he had anything to do with Alicia Cuthbert, for instance, from 24. It's weird how I know so many actresses' names starting with Alicia or Elisa or whatever. I must have a thing for that name for a period of time. I don't know.
Now everybody's crush on Kylie from Firefly is like fucking over.
Oh yeah, Jewel State as well.
You
God
literally
damn.
had her on that fucking show with her legs up in the air getting fucked in an engine room, and you're like, oh god damn it, he probably did that shit for real.
It wouldn't fucking surprise me. But even though
So
I just think of her as Dr. Fucking hell, the girlfriend of the guy from Star Trek, Stargate Atlantis. Fucking hell, what was his name again?
So the big problem is at this point that every nerd, upon thirsting after a female, has to ask himself, "Do I want sloppy seconds?"
Oh God!
Forever unclean, tainted meat.
Dr. Fucking hell, that was yeah. Now that is a name in one of my books on a certain in some sort of future release. Dr. Fucking hell will be a character. I just need to note that down.
That should have been the title of today's show: Tainted Love.
Oh, yeah, that is better than Failed Feminists.
Because it'd be different if he didn't like use feminism as a fucking shield his entire career to write what was clearly his sexual fantasies.
Yeah.
Like every show, everything he's ever been involved in, except for like maybe the Avengers movies, has been him fetishizing basically, what sexually gets him off. Like you sit there and you think, Firefly had space whores.
Yeah.
And like everything about everything he's ever done is just like, oh god.
It is
like when you take away that shield of feminism, you realize just what a fucking pervert that man is.
And he wrote the original script for the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer as well. That's how he retained the rights for that concept, because it didn't fail, but it wasn't a huge hit in the box office. And let's face it, the TV series was better than the movie in general. But
well, he wrote the movie and whatnot, and that was before he got into entertainment, really. And he was pushed by his wife in order to get. He was pushed
Yeah.
to make the show because the movie wasn't what he wanted, and the movie was basically schlock.
Well,
And
that's what people keep forgetting. He comes from a family of directors. They are not that well known, the Whedon family, because they're mostly TV directors. That's why.
was his mother an actress and his father a director? Because that would explain a few things.
His mom was a feminist, and I think she was an actress before she hooked up with his father. And then I think they got divorced, and the mom raised him. So I'm just saying, I'm not 100%.
There's probably a bunch of secret waiting kids.
Let me just
hanging around.
Let me just
ugly, pudgy, bald children that.
Let me just emphasize, I'm not sure about that bio, but it just seems to fit the entire fucking MO. No father figure, and just
doing it for generations.
Yeah. It's either that or his father wasn't present a lot in his life because he worked as a director and was away.
Or during his conception.
Could have been. I'm just saying that he didn't work his way up in the industry. He was born into it. So it's not surprising that he's using basically the entire fucking industry as a way of him fulfilling his or visualizing his fantasies. Because
see, society told me to fuck these hoes.
Yeah. I didn't say that.
Like Jesus Christ, like it's so, because that's the thing in hindsight, it's so fucking obvious. Like you look at like special editions and you see how some of these actresses talk about Joss, and all of them sound like they're fucking. Like I went back and watched like the fucking, because I have the Firefly DVDs, and you hear them talk about, all the female actresses talk about him, and it just sounds like, yo, she's blowing that dude. Like you can't.
Yeah.
You make stank face the entire time because it's just like, yeah, that's why none of these women are in the slightest bit way unattractive. All of these women look perfect.
It's just the entire situation. Just it emphasizes why some guys go into that industry. There is no doubt that fucking element is there, but the thing is, most of those guys are usually hacks, and the more I.
Wait, are you implying that he is not?
I'm not implying that he's not, because that's what I was getting at.
He's
because
a
the more I've seen his products afterwards, they're not fucking masterpieces. None of them. The dialogue
Buffy
is not the greatest I've ever.
Buffy
read.
and Angel were pretty much the only shows that he actually created.
Which
Everything he's done
there's only
since-
one word for: wank fodder.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
everything he's done since Buffy and Angel have been rip-offs of other shows. Like I originally didn't watch Firefly because I saw the promos and I'm like, you're literally ripping off, Outlaw Star and fucking Cowboy Bebop. Like just verbatim. Find a girl in a suitcase that's tied to a government conspiracy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Outlaw Star.
Yeah. Oh, that is a good point. Keld is saying that the Buffy stuff was pretty campy, kind of, or like fanfic stuff. Fanfuck. He also did that. He also did fanfuck. So yeah, fanfic, fanfuck, same fucking thing. And it is. his writing.
Why does this depress you so much? Like,
Because,
like there's an air of sadness.
No, it doesn't depress me, but it kind of confirms a lot of the things that I've. If you're willing to play ball with a studio system, because a friend of mine, a school friend of mine, has directed a couple of movies in Hollywood, and he just got back and he gave an interview about the culture within the production or post-production, basically, and the entire production. The studios are always hanging over you, and the thing is that he played ball with that kind of crowd, and that's why he got away with his behavior. Because if fucking Clint Eastwood had pulled shit out, oh fuck, he did sleep around with women while he was married.
Yeah, he did, dude.
Yeah. I was trying to figure. Okay, Steven Spielberg or George Lucas. If either.
Well, to be fair.
Yeah, both of them too.
Yeah, that is.
You know, if you consider shows like Buffy and so forth, and having to work with Joss Whedon, I'm gonna have to hazard a guess that the studio isn't gonna be the worst thing that could be hanging over you.
God damn it, you and your penis jokes. No, but it is a very fucking seedy.
Dude, it's
business.
fucking Hollywood.
Yeah.
The fact that this still surprises people is just it's mind-boggling to me. It's like, yeah, most of the Hollywood isn't really filled with good people.
No, and I'm not denying that, but you have to remember. You have to remember.
That's why people taking moral advice from fucking celebrities is so fucking hilarious to me. Because the majority of these people have done repugnant shit. Like, you've got people denouncing people left and right, that have, like, convictions for beating their wives and shit, and people forget. Like people forgot Sean Penn beat the fuck out of Madonna. People forget, As soon as they make something entertainment that people want to watch, they fucking forget. So this whole using Hollywood and celebrities as a moral kind of, guide is fucking ridiculous. That's why the Josh Whedon thing is so funny, because he virtue singled fucking hard as shit.
Yeah.
For a decade and a fucking half. Like, this dude was zealot number one. This dude, when he got called out for the whole I'm a monster line from Avengers 2, instead of defending himself, just left Twitter.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I know that political environment that he stems from, it's so fucking powerful in Hollywood. So it's a huge blow to them as well. That's why you see so many people trying to defend him in some way. Not just his fans, but also...
I don't really see anybody defending him right now. Like, even Whedon-esque, his fan site. His official fan site that's been there for, like, 15 years. A website devoted entirely to being a fan of Josh Whedon was like, nope, fuck this shit, we're out.
Yeah.
And my guess is the top people from that site had met his wife, because there's no way that didn't happen in 15 years.
Yeah.
And
well, it's
probably hurt a lot of them, because she had been involved. It's not like she wasn't involved in the industry. Like,
oh God. Lord Hartnett, our good friend, just mentioned Anita took a bunch of pictures with him as well. I just realized I got some really disturbing thoughts in my head roaming
Here's
around.
the funny thing. Here's the funny thing about that. Okay. She meets Josh Whedon. They take those what were essentially promotional pictures. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Then Josh and Tosh decides to write a scathing review of Avengers 2. And suddenly, he gets pushed out of Feminist Frequency.
And gets dumped. Allegedly.
There's no... I'm pretty much 99% sure that he fucked Anita.
Yeah. Actually, Angela disagrees with you. She says,
Well,
I don't think he fucked Anita. He liked to fuck women he has power over. And I bet he took pictures of her feet, though. So... just let that fucking idea fester in your mind.
You know, thanks for killing the entirety of my sex drive for the remaining week.
Dude, no
you're
more
not
gross
you're not
than
even...
Tarantino foot stuff.
You're not even
Like,
straight,
Tarantino
dude!
is way worse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but here's the thing. Tarantino doesn't fucking hide his depravity. That's why I
This is
don't...
true.
Yeah, he is...
If it came out that Tarantino had fucked every actress he ever worked with, I would have been like,
Yeah, of course.
I can see that.
Yeah, of course.
Look, even if
But here's the thing, I don't think he would. I think he actually is a professional fucking guy on set. He's just a wild person when he's not working.
I think it's more of women just wouldn't fuck him because he's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that
even
too.
even if I was straight, it wouldn't be now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point again, Angela. I can kind of see... Read his scripts. He totally has a foot thing. Yeah, get on Discord, Angela. We're open for people. It's...
I would like to interject from chat, but you could come on air, Angela. You know.
Yeah, you know you can. You know you can visit us. We're all alone here. Evil hasn't shown up.
Oh,
I'm all alone with a black eye and I'm German. I'm scared.
Fucking racist.
Dude, who do you think scares me most? The people who invaded me last, or a black guy?
You fucking racist.
Oh god.
I knew it.
Yeah.
You can't talk shit about the Poles anymore, so you gotta go for the blacks.
No, the Germans.
That's true.
Yeah. What are they gonna do?
It's a situation when you look at
We're not a part of the EU.
When you look at Wade and
Look, as far as the invasion thing is going on, you guys were asking for it.
Yeah.
yeah.
You wouldn't give us your iron.
Yay!
Hey!
She got on.
Angela.
Instead of commenting in chat the entire time.
Well, I find the Joss Whedon thing really quite fascinating. If only because his work is I like his work to some extent.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. But then there are I mean, I don't know if you guys know this about Firefly, but about what was going to happen to Inara in later seasons, that she was going to be gang raped by Reavers.
Oh God!
They have no fucking sex drive. What the fuck? They're savages.
No, that's what they do. They take you. They rape you to death, eat you, and sew your skin into their clothing. But they were going to have this episode where they're attacked by Reavers. Inara gets taken, but before they do this, she injects herself with this, and this was foreshadowed in one of the first episodes in season 1. You see her they're attacked by Reavers, and you see her looking like a little gold syringe in a box.
Do not pay attention to the fapping noise from the director's chair.
Yeah, so she injects herself with this drug, which means that anybody who has sex with her dies. So when they find her, she's on this ship. She's on the Reaver ship, and all the Reavers are dead.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. The more I think about it, the more I see the Reavers as some sick, fucking twisted, Freudian way of looking at men in general.
Yes.
From his point of view.
It's a sex drive.
This is the thing. If you want to understand Joss Whedon's work, don't look at how he writes women. Look at how he writes men. Specifically, what is supposed to be.
Yeah, you were talking about.
I mean, the whole idea of the episode was that Malcolm always had a problem with her being a companion, and he quite regularly slut shames her and calls her a whore in the series. The whole idea of it was that at the end of the episode, you know, he would find her, and he would take her hand and he would kiss it, and he would refer to her as a lady. So it takes her being gang raped by Reavers for him to stop slut shaming her.
Oh, you gotta trigger that white savior complex has to come into it sooner or later.
So, you know, her having sex for profit and enjoying having sex for profit, that's bad. But her being gang raped by Reavers, that's enough to make Malcolm treat her like a lady.
Oh, Jesus.
and Joss Whedon is totally. This was one of the episodes that he used to pitch the show to the network.
What?
So it was an important episode in the character arc of two of the main characters in the show.
I'm so glad the show got canceled after one season.
Yeah, I was as well after I read that.
Seriously fucking disturbing. That
is twisted as fuck.
And here's the thing. There's no issue. I have no issue with writing. With people directing something like that. Jesus Christ, I've worked on movies that are worse than that. But it's just in lieu of what's
funny about that actress as well.
Yeah.
And I'll say this just real quick, that she's kind of notorious for cheating on her husband and getting pregnant by somebody else that wasn't her husband recently. So chances are, even her.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean,
I wouldn't.
He was always. There were always stories and stuff about him, about Joss Whedon behind closed doors. The rumors that he was, you know, sleeping with Elisha Duke during Dollhouse. When she was addicted.
There's no way she would have gotten
when she was addicted to drugs and alcohol at the time. I mean, when she was working on Buffy, she was underage.
Yeah. And
they had to get a court order so that she could work all the hours that she needed to work.
I knew it. That is some R. Kelly shit.
Shrek vindicated.
But I mean, I don't know. Charisma Carpenter, who played Cordelia, outright accused him of firing her for getting pregnant when she was working on Angel, because her pregnancy derailed the direction that he wanted to take the show that season, and he had to rewrite the season to factor in her pregnancy. And she outright accused him of firing her for that, like, because she got pregnant.
I'm just sensing a Hollywood way of getting rid of someone who's a nuisance.
It could be, but I mean, to be fair, he's lucky he doesn't get his ass sued. The thing is, for him to be sleeping with women that, for actresses that he potentially has the power to fire.
Yeah.
That's some serious misconduct he's being accused of here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if those actresses were needy or aggressive or outright throwing themselves at him. He's their boss.
Yeah.
He has the power to, particularly as a Hollywood director and a TV director, he has the power to make sure they don't work ever again.
You were talking about on Twitter about how he writes the male good guy characters as well.
This is a real problem. Yeah, with Joss's work. Yeah, with Buffy and with Angel. I mean, you look at I mean, it's good to write characters that are flawed in some way.
Yeah.
But all his male characters, all his male good characters, all seem to have the same flaw, and that's that they have bad relationships with women.
Yeah,
Xander
Malcolm.
in particular, Buffy, is a really good example. You had Xander, who was a complete dickhead to all the women. There are numerous examples of him. There's an example in like the first season of Buffy where he and Buffy and Willow are in Buffy's room. Buffy's getting changed, and he turns away, but he angles the mirror so he can see Buffy get undressed. And there are several examples of him. Xander really feels like women are possessions, like they belong to him. He's a dickhead to every woman he ever dates, cheats on Cordelia, then casts a spell to try and make her love him again, but it goes wrong, so every woman in Sunnydale ends up chasing after him. And then he gets a thank you from Buffy for not taking advantage of her during that episode. Thank you for not
raping
me when I was under the influence of magic.
So you're saying that every piece of his work is a proxy for him.
Yeah.
Because if you think of it that way, like if every show has a proxy for him, every male character that he writes makes sense because they're so.
Did he cheat on Cordelia? Did he cheat on Charisma or Carpenter?
Yeah.
And then apologized in the show? Oh, Jesus. That is some next level bullshit.
And then there's his relationship with Anya as well. Xander's relationship with Anya, the ex-demon. And he constantly belittles and puts her down and makes her look stupid in front of other people, makes fun of her in front of other people. And then he jilts her at the altar. Like, literally leaves her on their wedding day. And then he just expects her to take him back. Like, okay, yeah, we'll just go back to how it was before. Like, we'll just put the marriage thing and just go back to how it was before. And then he cannot understand why she's not okay with that. And this is the guy that's supposed to be the good guy, the guy that you're supposed to like, the guy you're supposed to root for. And
no wonder I like Seth Green's character better.
No, but even he had his problem. He was great until they did the werewolf thing.
Yeah.
With him, he was great. He was really nice. Yeah, he was really nice.
He was and then
they brought him back for the college season. Yeah, he was really good. Yeah, but even then, there were problems with him because they brought him back for the college season, and by then Willow was, doing her gay thing, and so she was with Tara and doing her gay thing. Yeah. Because she's gay, and they made it so they had this, and it's amazing. It's good that Seth Green is such a good actor, because otherwise this would have really naffed me off the first time I saw it. When he's talking to Willow and he's basically saying, I can't control myself when I'm around you.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound like every typical abusive? I can't control myself when I'm around you. I'm really nice all the time, but but when I'm with you, I want to rip people's faces off. And it's good that he's such a good actor, because otherwise it really would have sounded like he was blaming her for the fact that he can't.
I now see yours and Leah.
Relationship ever.
I now see both yours and Liana Kay's claim that Joss Whedon is a horrible fucking character writer. A lot better once I saw this.
Once you put his life into perspective.
Yeah. No, when I look at in general,
I think the perfect example of Joss's work, of Joss's feelings when it comes to men and women, can be found. There's an episode in Angel, I think it's called Billy, and in it you've got a demon guy who, when he touches men, he infects them with kind of, they refer to it as a primal misogyny. So basically, when he touches a man, The man gets really, really, really angry at women and basically abuses women and enjoys victimizing and abusing women. And all the good guys in the show get infected, apart from Angel, because Angel's a vampire. So you basically had Wesley, whose arc is probably the most interesting throughout, you know, Buffy and Angel, chasing and victimizing and trying to rape Fred, this tiny, tiny little woman who at the time he had feelings for, and actively enjoying her victimization. And then Gunn as well. So you had these men in the show who were good guys that basically the whole premise of it was you're not infected with something from the demon, it's something within every man. Every man has this primal misogyny that, you know, means that if they were truly unleashed from the bonds of themselves and from society, they would enjoy inflicting violence and cruelty on women. I think that says an awful lot about what Joss Whedon thinks about men and women, that every man is secretly inside a violent misogynist and every woman is secretly inside a victim.
That's a lot of projection. That's a lot of fucking projection from his point of view.
It also makes, and I think that's why Dr. Horrible's sing-along is probably the most telling work of his.
Yeah.
Because in the end, he had to kill the woman he loved in order to get everything he wanted.
It's...
Yeah.
It was a funny. It was a funny topic.
I never got the whole thing about, you know, Joss Whedon being his work being feminist. Let's put it that way. Let's just put it that. There's so much wrong with his work when you're trying to, and it was literally seemed to be a case of, well, he's good for feminism because he's vocal about it and because you know, he brings people's attention to it. So we'll just overlook all the problematic elements of his.
Yeah.
You know, the attempted rape of Buffy and
they would have never. He would never have gotten get.
But if he'd had Inara gang raped by Reavers in Firefly, I doubt anybody would have forgiven him for that.
Oh, you can just that would have killed his fucking career. That is the type of line. Yeah, you do not, and especially with that ending. If that had, I would have been surprised if it passed the censor. To be quite honest, because that had to be broadcastable, and no fucking way that would have passed the early 2000 censors. If it was,
I mean, I doubt you would have seen anything really graphic.
No, but it is. It's the implication in general. You can't do that at all on TV. That's a line you don't fucking cross. You don't even cross it on. Well, maybe HBO. Maybe HBO could have done it back in the day. Now they could.
I doubt they could have done it then.
Yeah, but I don't think they would have done it that way either. They have had the story of a mass rape in Game of Thrones with the story of Peter Dinklage or Tyrion Lannister's first wife. How his father paid his entire garrison to fuck her.
Yeah.
So
they've had several rapes and references to rape. I mean, Craster's Keep as well. You had the deserters from the Night's Watch that were basically raping all of Craster's wives / daughters. Yeah,
but nothing like that. Nothing that fucking. No. Nothing that extreme. To put it lightly, because it is that scene there is just there are so many layers of disturbing related to that scene.
And just
really that scene alone.
He was really sorry he didn't get to make that episode as well.
Yeah.
If you look at, I mean, and this is well documented as well. I'm not making this up. You can look this up about that episode. It's really well documented that was an episode that was going to be in Firefly, and it's just like, wow, that's reading that for the first time. I was glad that Firefly got cancelled when it did.
Yeah, and here's the thing. That might actually explain why the show got cancelled.
But again, though, that was one of the things he used to pitch the show.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I know.
In all honesty, the executives over at Fox are known to make some retarded decisions.
Yeah,
so it doesn't surprise me that they did that, and then because that's when that one dude took over, and basically canceled the majority of the shows on Fox, and that script probably came along his desk, and he was like, "Nope, shut it down."
You get producers, and you get the top network executives, and then there's a changeover of staff, and you get new people in who want new stuff, and they look at what's on and go nope, and just cancel everything. And I think that's kind of what happens. Like, nope,
that dude gets so much shit for canceling Firefly and canceling the majority of the shows on that network. But now, when you think back in hindsight, he might have been a hero.
Yeah, he might have saved us all.
Yeah.
Saved us all, and then we got Serenity instead, where they just said fuck it and killed everybody.
I actually like Serenity.
So did I. I saw Serenity before I saw Firefly.
Yeah.
That
might be his best movie, in my opinion. Even though he has a couple of sort of
I mean, I really liked what they did with River in Firefly, because I mean, in the show she was just kind of.
Oh god, he fucked River. There's no way he didn't.
Yeah. He has this penchant for like really tiny waif-like girls that are actually badass superheroes. But I mean, with River in the show, I mean, she was just there. They never really gave her anything to do, and she was just reduced to like being there and just being the punchline of everybody's jokes, and occasionally
like
getting
every
a moment
sexual partner Joss Whedon has ever had. Just be there.
And foot shots all the time. If you go back and
he does like his feet. He does like his. I mean, did you read his Wonder Woman script? I saw an excerpt of it.
I had heard horrible things about it, and I was just like, nope.
I saw an excerpt of it, and he makes it very, very clear. Takes great pains to mention the fact that Wonder Woman is barefoot in a particular scene.
Yeah,
I did. He definitely has a foot thing. The only scene of it I read, which was with that as well, was her and Steve sharing a kiss, and Steve says something like, "Wait, you grew up on an island with only women, and you can kiss like that?" And she's like, "Well, actually, that's a funny story. It's not as good as the one I'm making up in my head." And he's like, she's like, "Are you sure about that?" And it's just like, no, this would have been a horrible, horrible, horrible. Stop, desist, step away from the computer, Joss Whedon. You can imagine how well that would have gone down.
He's always over-sexualized almost every single one of his female. Like, there's never one that's just.
Now we know why.
Now we know why.
Yep. And all of them have had some sort of bad thing connected to their sexuality. I mean,
I'm seriously amazed he's not had an outright accusation against him, and that he's not had. I'm honestly amazed he's managed to get away with it. He must be a really good fuck.
Oh, Angela,
He must be. That's the only thing that I can think of that explains it.
Angela, you're starting to turn me straight. Stop it.
Because
Shrek is going to become straight just to be a better lover than Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God!
He's got really good lawyers.
Oh, Jesus.
Probably lawyers.
You're regretting inviting me in now, aren't you?
No. I would never regret anything like that.
It's the best decision we've made all day.
Yeah, it's we lost a viewer. We lost a viewer and gained a guest. That's perfect.
I would like to go into other entertainment stuff because people need to be warned.
Yeah.
Netflix original content this month has proved to me that they are kill. First of all, I watched the Death Note movie.
Oh no,
I don't know why I watched the Death Note movie.
Why, Artivous? Why do you do this to yourself?
Your morbid curiosity always gets me, Angela. Always gets me.
Why do you do
this? There, I'm just like, God damn it. I watched this thing, and they turned Light into a gigantic wafting pussy. He's still smart, but he's not evil. He doesn't have, like, the whole point of the original manga and the anime was you took a person with a strong sense of justice and you watch them slowly corrupt and become one of the greatest monsters of all time, even if to some degree that monster was needed. But the movie is too much of a pussy for that. Yeah, but the movie is too much of a pussy for that, so he never actually does anything evil. Really? Like, he still kills the criminals and whatnot, but they have his girlfriend in as a proxy to do all the dirty work and fucked up shit for him, so he can maintain his dignity as a character. And it's such crap, because it's like, come on, dude. Like, L, and that's the thing, like, L is perfect in it. Like, the guy playing L knocks that shit out of... Black L is actually good. Like, that dude, he's like, you know what? I'm L, period. I'm not going to do my own thing. I'm not going to make up some new shit. I'm going to be L. And he is L, perfect. Like, like, even the way he holds the sugar cubes and shit. And he's perfect until he grabs a gun and goes to hunt down Light because Light outsmarted him. Like, it's so, like, it's made for TV movie. I don't know. I don't care. I'm already trying to delete it from my brain, but okay. Basically, the setup is he gets the Death Note like he does in the original content, and he starts writing down names of criminals and whatnot. But then he gets a girlfriend and instantly lets her in on his secret, which anybody with any kind of common sense would have kept that shit from his cheerleader girlfriend. Like why would you? Because she's into it, and he knows he can get into her pants if he tells her the truth about the Death Note and whatnot. That's the only real reason he gives up the goods. And so even then, she's
got a murder fetish.
Yeah, and so it's clear that this chick is dark, and the moment you fuck up, she's going to take the book from you, or she's going to fuck you over, which she does. She basically, like, one of the major moments of the manga and the anime when you see him start to turn evil is when he kills off all of the FBI agents that are coming after him in one fell swoop. And it's the moment, it's like, you're no longer just killing criminals. You're killing people who are coming after you. These people were innocent people, and you slaughtered them. And it was one of the biggest moments from the anime and the manga that he did this. This was his first evil act. Yeah, his first cross of the line. But he doesn't do that. They have that in the movie, but he doesn't do that. Fucking she does.
Alright, did Just Reading write this?
No, but he may have written. But he may have
obviously goes upstairs and does this while he's like downstairs, and it's like, oh well, like she suddenly has to go upstairs, and then she suddenly has to leave, and it's like, fucking dude, like really? And he's like like fucking love struck by this chick, even by the end of the movie, where she literally writes in there, "You're going to do what I say. I'm going to kill you with this note. I'll burn the page, saving your life if you do what I say." And he's still trying to romance her to change her ways so he could be with her and they could be happy and run away. And it's like, come on, dude. Light used his girlfriend as a fucking weapon in the anime. He was nothing more than her than something to use to keep. He's a buffer to keep the law from him, and he has to be basically threatened by a death god not to kill her, or he would have early in the series, because she had her own death god and death note, and it's and the way it's written, it's clearly they're going to make a second one, and it's like, no.
You really expected them not to pussy out of making a film based on a manga?
I thought they would at least make him as evil as his character is supposed to be.
Oh, you poor mad fool, you.
I know.
And you also thought that Scarlett Johansson would, make a good Ghost in the Shell character. So.
No, I didn't. I never said that. I will not allow this slander, these lies.
Oh, I know how to. I know how to get you, dude. I just don't do it enough.
No, it brings me up to the second Netflix disappointment: Defenders.
I heard a lot of mixed things about Defenders. I heard it was good from some people and pointless from others.
It's a mixed bag. There's no doubt about it.
The problem with Defenders is, alright, the whole point of the Netflix TV series is that you can make Marvel characters that were darker. But this show so badly wants to be the Avengers movie. Yeah.
That is a good point.
And you can't do that with darker characters. And it's every character has like their fucking cringe moment where you just want to slap the shit out of them for just doing just nonsensically stupid shit that makes no sense whatsoever. Like Jessica Jones, who's the most useless person on the team, like is so skeptical of all of this weird shit, and I'm like, dude,
is it because she's
you're
a woman?
chick. It's so fucking. They even make the Joan Jett joke in the show.
Yeah, I know.
And it's like, dude, you fucking can jump over buildings and shit. You have super strength. Your main villain was a guy who could control people with his mind. But as soon as the people say some weird shit is going down, you want to be like, this can't be real. This isn't reality. This isn't normal. So you guys are lying and crazy. It's like, bitch, you fought a dude who made you rape people in the comics.
Yeah.
He literally tricked you into basically raping Luke Cage in your freaking show because Luke Cage was controlled and couldn't consent to the sex you had with him.
And here's the thing about the show. I'm not
for this episode.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that it was badly written on all fronts, but I am saying that
I wanted to throw Iron Fist into a blender.
Yeah, I definitely get that. But the thing about what I think they tried to do is make Jessica Jones the skeptic of the team. They tried to pigeonhole those characters into archetypes that they don't necessally fit. That their history doesn't fit. I mean, Jessica Jones is not a person. She's a grumpy person, but she's not a skeptic. That just doesn't. I would.
And it gets worse when, like, even going through it, she's like, I'm not involved in this. And it's like, no, clearly you're fucked if you don't help these guys.
Yeah.
I'm a loner. Like she does everything but scream that and stomp off. It's the stupidest fucking thing.
I think what's happened there, and is what happens with a lot of comic to TV stuff is a lot of stuff gets lost in translation with comics, and they try to kind of take the characters and fit them into TV tropes rather than comic tropes, and they are kind of
archetypes.
And they are so that they can make television. And we're seeing, you see it with books to TV and books to films a lot as well, because they're trying to fit characters into conventions from a different medium. You're seeing it at the moment with Game of Thrones, in that characters are suddenly all over the place.
Oh Jesus! The fucking dialogue from the last week's episode.
Yeah, because they've not got the books anymore. They're not. They've kind of been loosed from their restraints of the books, and now they get to make TV.
Who thought?
And so it's now full of TV stuff.
Who the fuck?
So now every character's an idiot.
Yeah.
And it's full of really stupid fan fiction type stuff.
Yeah, who the fuck thought a discussion of the phrase dick would be a good idea to put in a medieval fantasy TV series? It's just it boggles my fucking mind. Who approved that fucking dialogue? That is that
bit of dialogue is actually one of the best parts.
Oh yeah,
Do not blame us for this, okay?
I blame you, and I blame the entire homosexual community.
Oh yeah, all right, oh yeah.
Now we have agenda right there. The gay agenda.
We have this shit again. The gay community. I'm going to strangle you. Like, listen, this is not some shit a gay dude writes. This is a shit that a straight dude writes that wants to appeal to gay dudes.
No true homo? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I mean, if you look at the amount of fan fiction, the gay fan fiction that exists for Game of Thrones, there's a lot.
Holy shit.
A lot.
And guess what? Almost all of it is written by women.
Yes.
Yeah,
women as well.
Didn't Karen Strong write a bunch of both gay and straight erotic fiction back in the day?
I don't know.
No, I know that a lot of
no, actually, this is a good topic. You know, since we're talking about, you know, women being objectified, you know what? You know, nobody's talking about us gay men being objectified constantly by women.
Oh, here we go.
No.
No, seriously, we are like the prime fetish and fat footer for you know, like.
Are you trying to climb the victim hierarchy here?
Oh, here we go. Face it, Shrek, you're normal. Fucking deal with it. Nobody cares anymore.
Dude, you're German. No amount of gayness.
You have Cheerios ads.
Yeah. You can't climb that fucking hierarchy, dude. You're German.
You can't climb back from normal, dude. You can't.
Bullshit.
You're normal.
Bullshit.
You're normal, and you have to fucking deal with it, Shrek.
I calculated my privilege score, and it had like minus 3,000 extremely oppressed.
Yeah, I totally.
I believe you.
Okay.
But since we are speaking of objectification, are we going to talk about James Cameron?
Oh God, I totally forgot. Okay. James Cameron. I don't know what he's trying. Like, I guess he's trying to jump on the whole offend train, but it's like you can't call somebody's work misogynistic when you did Titanic.
Among other things.
Among other things. But that was his biggest movie. When your biggest movie involves a woman stripping down naked just so she can be objectified by an artist because somehow that's freeing. You don't get to say that Wonder Woman is sexist.
Yeah. No, he didn't direct Waterworld, didn't he? No, he didn't.
Well, not just that, but I mean, look at Avatar. I mean, the fact that he made absolutely sure that even though they're not mammals in the traditional sense, that the women still had breasts and that the breasts were always on show.
Yeah.
And he made absolutely sure. I mean, it's in the commentary. If you listen to the commentary, he talks about that how it was absolutely essential that they had breasts, and that they used her necklace to cover up the nipple.
Has anybody seen James Cameron and Joss Whedon in the same room together?
Well, I mean,
that's a very good point.
I got it from you, Dad.
To be fair, Joss Whedon's only cheated on the one wife.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
unlike
cheated
James
on a couple.
Cameron.
And let's not forget
James
Cameron was married to goddamn Catherine Bigelow.
Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah. And she's a pretty tough woman. I don't see Joss Whedon actually surviving her at all.
Plus, to be fair, you know, he didn't give them PTSD.
No, exactly.
That's the new level.
That's because he washes his dick before he fucks them. So.
But it's like, come on, Cameron, you can't. Like, and it's not like he's done any like roles in a while that were what you call, you know, female-centric, empowering movies. But you want to shit on Wonder Woman.
When the example he brings up is Sarah Connor, that's interesting to me, because when you look at the differences between Sarah Connor and Wonder Woman, I mean, you can't even really compare them because they're two.
Her job was to get pregnant and then get locked in a mental institution.
No, I will not hear that. No.
That's what happened to her.
Sarah Connor is the real
That's what she was
savior. No, Sarah Connor is the real savior of mankind, and I will tell you why. Because there are 10 years between Terminator. No, there are 10 years between Terminator and Terminator 2. And in that time, she has to keep her son safe and teach him the skills that he needs to become the resistance leader of the future. In order to do that, she basically has to spend 10 years shacking up with dangerous men, trading her body to them to learn the skills that she needs to teach her son to become the future resistance leader.
Maybe she enjoyed it.
She spends 10 years. No, but obviously she doesn't, because look at the state of her in Terminator 2.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
She's completely lost her humanity by that point.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just that she has to pump out a baby and leave him to it. She has to, like, train him and raise him for his destiny.
Yeah,
so she's the real savior there, the real savior of humanity. But in doing so, she sacrifices so much: her own dignity, her own bodily autonomy, her own sense of humanity, and her son's childhood.
And she becomes the embodiment of the Nietzschean proverb, which I now have decided that we're going to call it a proverb, because it's be careful when you're hunting monsters that you do not become one yourself. And that is what she happens to her, because she's so worried about the Terminators that she basically becomes...
She becomes one, basically. As
I agree.
Cold as one, as unfeeling as one.
I here's the thing. I actually, her and fucking hell, my brain today.
Ripley,
thank you.
Ripley.
Yeah,
I know
Ripley.
where you're going.
are probably some of the best female characters in that genre in general at all. I don't think they have been. I don't think they have been topped, but I don't necessarily think that they can't be topped.
But it's still after all that.
They're not superheroes.
No,
the
exactly.
whole point of Sarah Connor and Ellen Ripley is that they were ordinary people that had this extraordinary circumstance, extraordinary events that they had to manage thrust upon them. Wonder Woman is not like that. Wonder Woman is a superhero. Wonder Woman was raised in safety and security, out of reach of the world, of the dangerous world, and had to learn about the dangers of the world and what the world around her was really like, and had to come to terms with that. And that's kind of like every superhero movie. Superheroes exist to serve as inspiration to ordinary people. They are extraordinary. They're supposed to serve as examples as to how, how brilliant, how great humanity could be. They're supposed to be like shining paragon beacons of virtue, which is why, to be honest, superheroes like Wonder Woman and Superman never really interested me that much, because they always seem to come across to me as sanctimonious.
They're bland. They're not.
They're boring. But
they're not exciting.
That was always the problem with DC Comics in general. That's why DC was basically, for the most part, losing in sales for so long, because it's a common saying that in Marvel you have humans that become gods. In DC you have gods that are trying to be humans.
Yeah.
And the DC heroes are less relatable because they're so powerful and they're so above humanity and they're so, morally just that they don't seem human anymore.
And there's the whole thing, I mean, from Bill makes a speech at the end of Kill Bill about Superman, about
what he
the fact that Superman is an alien, he's strong, he has all abilities, and then he chooses to mask them in the guise of Clark Kent, who's weak, he's insecure, cowardly. He's not very assertive, and that Bill says about that Clark Kent is how Superman views the human race.
Critique of humanity.
That's his critique of the human race, and I think there's that's pretty fair. I mean, there's certainly a lot to read into there in terms of how Superman views humanity, but the whole thing about it is that Wonder Woman and Sarah Connor are completely different in the way that they're made, the way that they're written, the way they're structured, and who they are, and why it's okay to like both of them. They both can exist. So I think it's kind of unfair for James Cameron to say that Wonder Woman was a step backwards. Although, I don't personally find Wonder Woman. There are a lot of people that do. Although it really annoys me that Wonder Woman, along with Ray, is completely untouchable in terms of criticism, because they're the feminist characters, the progressive characters, female characters of choice, and so they're completely untouchable. You can't criticize them, otherwise you're a sexist. That bugs the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Even though if you look at Wonder Woman's history, it's actually hilarious how misogynistic the character's creation was.
Yeah.
I mean, she was originally created because of a BDSM fetish.
Yeah, well, that's why her weakness was being tied up by men. And because there regularly just wasn't random rope around, this usually ended up being her own lasso that ended up having her tied up in very intricate and interesting ways.
It reminded me of that Japanese type of bondage art that floats around.
Yeah,
it's very similar.
Boobs sticking out, rope everywhere, except all the important bits. Yeah,
but here's the thing: the creator of Wonder Woman was a polygamist, or he was married, but he also had a live-in girlfriend. So they had all three of them had a relationship altogether. So, and apparently that worked for them, but it sort of it kind of. Again, it's the art being kind of
imitating.
Yeah, well, not necessarily imitating life, but it's the artist's personality branding or giving a hint of themselves.
Bleeding through slightly.
So I'm not saying that that's necessarily true either, because you that's the thing about analyzing works of art after an artist is dead and that artist can't give their own opinion. Even though that a lot of times artists might unconsciously sort of telegraph something through their work, it's very rare that an artist that writes stories, for instance, doesn't think very carefully about what they put, how their character is portrayed. So So it definitely makes sense, but I wouldn't, you know, I don't advocate.
What are you trying to say here, Jay?
No, I'm trying to say that
you're reluctant to read too much into
yes,
things.
it's a very sort of, I know I'm probably going to set
off. I'm trying to avoid saying that it's very postmodern to do that, to sort of interpret things while doing it yourself.
Yeah, while also doing it myself. Because human beings do that, but it's not correct to interpret a work of art without.
I just think you're trying to set up a shield.
Opinion. No, I'm not.
I just think you're trying to set up a shield so you can write a rape scene.
Oh,
you freaking
dude! I already have. I have implicated or I have hinted to a rape scene in my book. That's why my author friend made that list of things that I failed at. What as far as political correctness?
Because I knew you were fishing to plug your book anyway, so I might as well.
My book is on sale for £1.99 this weekend.
Wrote a book, everyone.
Yes.
2 people
Jen
watching. Jen wrote a book.
You opened that door for me, buddy, because I didn't think about that.
I was trying to do it, so I
no. I was hedging myself against being interpreted that way
you
myself.
were taking the really long road to talking about your book. You like it was going to be a 20-minute thing. So I said,
no, I'm not that fucking intricate, dude. I don't think that fucking far. I don't plan out my goddamn diatribes that well. But yes, since you mentioned my book, I will plug it.
Okay.
By the way, Jan has a book.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a book.
I have a book out.
Is it still on sale for 99 cents?
No, it's $1.99 now until tomorrow around. Well, I think it's 1 day and let me just check here because I can check it quickly.
No,
1 day and 2 hours.
I would like to bitch about.
1 day and 1 hour left of that sale, or 1 day and 1 hour and 40 minutes left of that sale.
I want to go back to bitching about Defenders just because I want to bring up Iron Fist and what is the point of this dude's character. Okay, you made him basically the worst hero ever in his own show. He's a failure in every respect. You make him an idiot of just, and then you continue it into this show to the point where the other characters are telling him to stop being retarded. But he's still such an emotional fucking. This is a dude who's supposed to have trained with fucking monks in a monastery his entire childhood.
Yeah,
he has absolutely no emotional control.
Yeah, that is my major.
They win if they get their hands on you. I would have run straight at him and fight him. Dude, don't. To the point where they have to kick his ass and knock him the fuck out to keep him from doing stupid shit.
Yeah, and that is my problem with him, is that he doesn't seem like a person who is prepared for everything. He seems like a character who just got out of an insane asylum, and I realized that was kind of their point.
He was in an asylum in the first season.
Yeah, but they sent him to an asylum in the first season. But that's one of the major problems of him, is that he doesn't seem like a character who's been in a monastery. And the thing is that a person that has
like a monk.
No, exactly. A person, I know a couple of people who've actually spent time in monasteries, and they are nothing like that whatsoever. The few people that I know. So it's a small fucking sample size, but still.
He's just an angry, crying, petulant child the entire season.
Yeah. And the thing is that he hasn't grown up, and you would have had to grown up going through that kind of training.
In a monastery?
Yeah,
you don't get tortured as a kid and not grow up.
I actually liked the Iron Fist series, and let me first defend my point of view before you rip into this argument, because I thought it was a good choice to do that kind of character when they initially released it. But then they didn't allow him to fucking grow emotionally at all. A person that had that kind of attitude when they came out and then didn't change, didn't become more steadfast, and didn't become the sort of Iron Fist ethos.
He never became a hero.
No, exactly. He becomes a child with superhero powers.
When you look at all of the Netflix shows, there is this definitive moment for each character when they become what their character is.
Yeah.
You know, the moment he puts on the costume and goes after Kingpin the first time, and puts the costume on the first time, that's the moment he truly becomes Daredevil.
Yeah.
With Luke Cage, when he fights Copperhead in the middle of the frickin' street, in front of his people as they cheer him on to protect them from evil, that's the moment he becomes Luke Cage. When Jessica Jones takes on Purple Man for that final showdown and snaps his neck, saving those, you know, and becomes the hero that she doesn't want to be, but becomes anyway, that's her moment when she becomes Jewel, when she becomes Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
He never has that fucking moment where he becomes Iron Fist.
No, that's actually a very good point. He never
has that.
Yeah. And the thing is,
go of his own bullshit to do what's right.
Yeah.
He always holds on to his bullshit, even when it destroys him repeatedly over and over again.
Yeah.
If you take the time with that, I mean, realistically, when you've got a TV show, you've got a lot more time than a movie to set up those kind of events, to set up those really good character moments. You don't have to rush it, but there's always that expectation there that, you know, within that first season, that moment has to arrive.
Yeah.
And then when it doesn't, you're sat there at the end of it and you're like, well, what the hell was the point of any of that?
Yeah.
No point.
And his season, okay, basically in Daredevil's first season, he takes down Kingpin. He gets the bad guy. Luke Cage, he takes down the bad guy, but he has to go back to jail, so it's bittersweet. But it's understandable. The same with Jessica Jones. Like, her life's in shambles, but she can get past what Purple Man did to her. With him, his season ends with him going back and finding out that in order to deal with his own personal bullshit, he's gotten everybody that raised him and took care of him as a kid fucking slaughtered.
Yeah, and he doesn't grow from that. That would have been a perfect.
Yeah,
that would have been a perfect. Here's as someone as a struggling writer, that would have been perfect. In my opinion, that would have been a perfect moment to do that.
Yeah,
as well.
that could have been the moment to make him, you know, burn that into. But it doesn't change him. It doesn't make him serious. It doesn't make him put his emotions aside. It doesn't make him grow as a human being.
Yeah.
Like, they're telling him throughout, they basically figured out, if they get their hands on you, the bad guys win. So we either need to hide you away or you need to run. And his immediate reaction to this is, no, I'm going to run at them and fight them.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if you had any kind of sense of honor, if you had any kind of sense of...
Hello?
And fucking off you.
Oh.
And die.
You disappeared for a while, dude.
Yeah, we lost you for a second there.
No, he would have, if he had any kind of honor and any kind of duty, he would have either run to the other side of the planet, so they'd have to chase them and be like, okay, I'm going to run. They have to chase me. And while they're chasing me, you do something about this to give you guys time.
Yeah.
Instead of, I'm going to run at the enemy and give them exactly what they want. And even with the fight, when they have him, like, all they need for him is to punch a big rock. That's all they needed him for. And rather than put two and two together, it's like, maybe they need me to fist something since I'm the Iron Fist. He goes into a blind fuck. I know. He goes into a fucking blind rage and gets tricked into doing the very thing that he was trying not to do. He is the most incompetent fucking character on the face of the planet. And it's like...
Oh God.
Lost you again, Artivous.
Lost you.
So what you're saying is that Iron Fist was really bad at...
Hello. Now we lost Angela as well. God damn it. This is Discord.
Discord, man.
No, I'm...
Oh, you're here. Yeah, okay. No, but it's a child's way of reacting, and I realize that people will say, yeah, well, he's been isolated. No, he hasn't been isolated. He's been in an isolated place with like maybe 20, 30 other people.
Was the only one really that had any goddamn sense.
Yeah, and you could have. Here's the thing: you could have made Iron Fist into the Stick character instead. After that entire thing, I realize that they've been building up to this entire fucking, Stick fate, but I'm not gonna, spoil too much because there might be people who haven't watched the show yet. So it's just, it really, really, really annoys me that they basically ruined one of the best characters in the Marvel universe by making him into a child, and then that dragged the entire Defenders series down a couple of pegs, in my opinion. Even though I still think that Iron Fist is probably the worst of the entire series. And
it seems like they've
got I still liked them. I still like them
with Marvel.
Yeah,
I get the sense that they've got too many projects going, too many plates up in the air, and they can't keep everything. They've got so many big grand ideas that they want to do. They want with the TV, with the cinematic universe, that they're really just kind of, the quality is slipping.
Well, that's the reason why they split it into two companies. That you have Marvel Studios doing the movie, the cinematic universe, and then you have Marvel Entertainment doing the Netflix specials and the other TV series like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and so on. So, we lost Artivous, but he'll be back soon. No, but that's why they split it into two teams. But I seriously think that they fell into a trope with Iron Fist, and then they couldn't get out of it at all. So that's why that show has been dragged down a couple of pegs for me, because it just, that stereotype doesn't fit that type of
against it's against
against
who Iron Fist is as a character.
Yeah.
Like, Iron Fist as a character in the comics is a very dutiful character. Yeah. Like, he is, like, in the comics, he's a white guy who grew up raised by monks, and so he acts like monks. And so there's an element of the show Kung Fu within him where he's a fish out of water story, which they only really did that in the show for like one episode, where he's just quirky and weird and somewhat wise and has Eastern philosophy. Like, that's a regular thing with Iron Fist that vanishes within the first episode of the season. No, he's supposed to be that dutiful, wise monk.
Yeah.
And it never happens.
Yeah.
Like, even his own, like, even just, like, they flat out say to him, it's like, you're the worst Iron Fist ever.
Yeah.
Like, his friend, his buddy, who was also in line to become the Iron Fist himself, shows up, and you're like, yeah, this guy definitely should have become the Iron Fist instead of this jackoff who fails at everything.
Yeah, and that is kind of my problem with the character in general, because the amount of discipline that you have to have within that type of environment in general, it just, no one would have gotten away with behaving like that in a fucking monastery? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, I can understand that growing out of, like, a prep school or whatever. Or...
boarding school.
Yeah, like a boarding school. That I can understand. I think that the people who wrote the Iron Fist series and the Defenders series weren't in proper communication at all, so the character just
hadn't done any research on the character at all.
No, exactly. I understand it because the pessimism could have gotten a little bit too heavy with, well, not necessarily with Iron Fist, but and I think that's one of the reasons why they didn't have Punisher at all in this.
Well, that and he's getting his own show.
Yeah, and I am.
Maybe will be good.
It looks like it's gonna. Well, I've only seen the teaser so far, and apparently
because he was the best part of season 2 of Daredevil. Yeah, because he actually spit some real shit. Like, he's the only one of these heroes on these Netflix shows that's like, stop pussyfooting the fuck around and get shit done. Like, this is the real world. You don't get to, you know, have all the stuff and have the normal life and then do the right thing. That's not the way it fucking works.
Yeah.
And he can be, you know, the hero that Punisher needs to be because he's lost everything. There's no going back for him. There's no looking back. There's no love interest. There's no, you know, he's the Punisher. He's that. Yeah. I guess that's the real difference between him and the other characters is he is the Punisher. You know, Frank Castle is just his birth name.
I think the whole idea of these kinds of things is that you know, they make mistakes and they lose something. Loud, they make mistakes and they lose something and they grow from it. They become something else. The whole idea is that their loss and their guilt over their mistakes makes them become this kind of hero. But if you've not got that, if you've not got that kind of moment, because that's kind of the 3 stages there. I mean, usually what the mistakes that the mistake is made with these kind of characters is that they make mistakes and they don't lose anything or nothing goes wrong.
Yeah.
And that's when you get, oh my God, it's a Mary Sue. But I think it's equally as bad when they make mistakes and they lose, but they don't learn anything from it, or it doesn't change them.
That is a major problem with Iron Fist.
Because that entire season, that entire first season is him trusting somebody who clearly isn't trustworthy, who's clearly shady as fuck, who screwed him over in the past, and then getting screwed by them again, and repeating this over and over for every single character he comes across.
Yeah.
Till the end, it's like, really? The guy who's hiding in the top of a mansion in fucking Manhattan, hiding atop, you know, a building in Manhattan, concealing the fact that he's still alive, betrayed you. Oh, I'm fucking shocked. Like, it's so, like, you have to be fucking retarded not to see that these characters are going to turn on you. Like, you have to be, like, just the dumbest fucking person on the planet. Yeah. And Iron Fist is. And he brought down the whole season of the Defenders. Like, Jessica Jones, there was, like, no real reason for her to be there. But at least she was doing positive things eventually.
Yeah, I'm
there's
not...
always gonna... There's all...
The problem the problem with the Jessica Jones story arc is that there wasn't enough building there at all. So I agree with you that she was kind of not.
She had no character arc.
Yeah, exactly. And the entire the problem with the focus on just Iron Fist and Daredevil, it dragged the series down a bit, in my opinion. Even though that they have even though they had Sawande there, and they had the characters sort of meeting because they were basically following the same trail. It after that, both Luke Cage and Jessica Jones's sort of character arc disappeared because they didn't have anything really invested in the foil of the story. So
Luke, Luke is just the Superman character.
Yeah, exactly.
He's there because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any real emotional ties other than, possibly getting revenge for the kids that got killed, for their sacrifice.
Yeah, but you don't really get there's no real payoff for him there because he's not the one that sort of resolves it. It's actually Stick,
the only one
who does the vendetta for those kids, because he's the one who yeah. So
and the only one that really ends up getting what they want and their payout in the end is freaking Daredevil in the end, and he ends up
yeah, it's
endangering the entire city for his dick.
Yeah. And the entire show is now starting to look like Daredevil season 3. The more I think about it, because it is.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as that entire series was just to close the Hand arc and to start the next arc in the in the Daredevil series. Which will
and they
be
didn't even have the balls to kill him outright.
No, exactly, and that will be the return. Before the that's not the Defenders. What
Sentence?
The fuck? Yeah, the Sentence. Thank you. Is it called the Sentence, that story arc, or just
no?
Did you just ask me?
Sarcastic about your sentence structure.
Yeah, sorry. No, but I'm
you took it.
yeah. I'm thinking about the story arc with Daredevil once he returns from the dead, but instead of actually having him return from the dead, which would involve the entire fucking dealing with hell and so on, and also killing off Punisher.
The whole thing about that is it's so dumb.
Yeah.
To have him at the bottom of this fucking cave, and it collapses in. Like, Daredevil isn't superhuman. He doesn't, other than his sense and being able to sense everything around him. He's not super strong. He's not super fast. He's basically a human. So how in the fuck is he going to survive a collapse? Because I know they're going to kill Elektra, but Elektra has superhuman strength.
By the way, everybody, spoiler alert.
I don't give a fuck. You shouldn't watch this show. See, this is why I know Netflix is dying, because the decline in actual level of content is starting to dip. And the problem with it is, so many companies are pulling their stuff from Netflix so that they can do their own streaming service.
Yeah.
Because they want that money.
Disney.
And Netflix. Yeah, so they're losing all of their content. And it almost feels like they're phoning in these last Marvel shows because they're under contract to do it with Netflix. But they don't really care anymore.
They've got a lot of competition now with original shows from people from places like Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah, Amazon Prime has spread now throughout the world, and it's I think the fee is a bit less.
It's not about the money. It's about the fact that Netflix actively rejects human. I used to have a Netflix account, an English one, because the German Netflix has shit and very little shit to begin with. Seriously, we've got a tenth of your shows. So I got an American Netflix account with a VPN, right? Now normally we think is, hey, I'm paying them, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I even have their top tier account. Yeah. They decided we're going to block all international people that are using VPNs, thus further reducing their potential customers.
Yeah. They're not making smart choices as far as...
They seem to be allergic to money.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't fight to keep their content. Like, if they fought these companies to keep and paid them more to keep their content on Netflix, it wouldn't be a problem, because Netflix used to be the place to go. But, you know,
was the Bill Nye Saves the World the corporate version of Joker setting his entire pile of money on fire?
No, they were making crap way before Bill Nye.
Yeah, I know. There were a couple of crappy fucking things, and in addition, they seem to have stepped, or they seem to have brought on the ire of the feminists anyways, because Amy Schumer apparently discovered that Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle made more money than her on their
because
Netflix.
They're funny and she's not.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying it, but it's just they can't play in that fucking pool.
And they came to her.
Yeah,
they came to her and gave her more money, and it's like, all right, whatever. She hasn't had a successful fucking movie and a successful fucking anything really.
No, but it's just that they can't expect to play in that pool when it comes to
That's
politicizing.
Not gonna be what kills them. What's gonna...
No, but
nobody gives a shit about that, Jan. Nobody gives a shit about that because everybody watches the things on Netflix that they want to watch, and they don't watch the things that they don't want to watch. What's going to kill Netflix is the fact that so much stuff is leaving. That like the whole good thing about Netflix was, okay, the show back in the day that you could never see anymore, you can watch it because you haven't seen it in years, but they've lost the majority of those shows too. Yeah. That like there's been a cull of all the content on Netflix in terms of, that's why they have these fucking rotations that are stupid as fuck, where this is leaving Netflix now and this is joining Netflix, just to try and get you to watch it, instead of it just being there to access at all times instead. And it's becoming telling when Hulu used to be Netflix's bitch.
Yeah.
But now Hulu is gained enough power where people are going to...
I'm just hoping Hulu spreads to Norway as well, because that'd be awesome. I'm just happy I'm just happy I have Amazon Prime now. Anyways,
and the other thing is people are burned out on having fucking 5 different accounts to watch all the stuff they want. And companies need to watch out for that, because at the end of the day, people can just download it illegally and watch it whenever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
The whole subscription thing with Netflix was just making it.
Huh? You wouldn't download a car.
Either that or...
Yeah, you would. If you could digitally download and 3D print a fucking car, people would.
Yeah, people would.
Actually, considering I've actually done that. I've just recently downloaded a bicycle and printing.
No, what you do is you if you know there's a really want to watch, is you wait for the season to finish, so the whole season's up on that that streaming service, and then you just do the free trial, and then watch it over a week and then cancel it.
Yeah,
I have never done that.
No, sorry.
Honest.
Speaking of,
what to happen is internationally unifying the services, because do you have any idea how frustrating it is to me as somebody from Germany who wants to see something on Netflix and then realizes that we don't have it here? Like everybody else has it, but we don't.
One more thing. Dear Crunchyroll, please open up for video streaming in Norway. I'm tired of not being able to watch some of the animes I actually watch.
Speaking of Crunchyroll, have you heard about the Crunchyroll Diversity Initiative?
Oh no! Fucking hell! That means I have to cancel that as well. Oh well. Anyways,
see, that's the thing. That's the thing that I'm saying. Like, it's nothing to cancel these accounts and watch the stuff you want online. Because that was the whole point. Was Netflix keyed into the people who were like, hey, listen, I just want to watch the shit online. I don't want to go through a bunch of shit, so I'll just download it. And it was easier to get a Netflix account and watch the shit on Netflix than downloading it illegally. But now it's become, again, easier to freaking just download it illegally and watch it than having 5 different fucking accounts. You gotta have an HBO account to watch Game of Thrones. You gotta have a Disney account that's coming now to watch, you know, the Marvel shows and Disney stuff. You gotta have Netflix. You gotta have Hulu. You gotta have Amazon Prime. You have to have
and to stop people taking the piss with all the accounts and giving out their passwords to everybody's accounts. They now make the user interface for these websites, for these things, so difficult, so horrible to navigate as well.
Oh, shit.
So horrible. I mean, Now TV is one of the worst for that. And if you don't have Sky Television and you want to watch Game of Thrones, you kind of have to have Now TV. But yeah, they honestly, I'm sure they hate their customers. I'm sure they do.
It's just like, fuck it. I'll just download it illegally or watch it somewhere else where I can get it without any trouble. It's not worth the trouble.
Anyways, I wanted to change the subject away from Netflix a bit. I've been trying for 5 minutes now. But one of my favorite people that I used to watch on TV on Discovery Channel back in the day was Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs, and he has been out in the, he has been out in the news again, and I can't help but love that dude because he's doing a lot of good work, and he has the focus.
Actually helps people.
Actually helps people. Actually manages to tell people, okay, there are some jobs that are shitty as fuck, but that are really essential
Americans
to us.
Still want them.
Yeah. And
I think that's been the message with him is...
Yeah.
All right, okay, Mike Rowe was never really in the Hollywood bubble because this was a dude who was in septic tanks for TV shows. Like, this dude...
Yeah, but he came
from
an acting background. He used to be a TV actor.
Yeah, he came from an acting background, but he met all of these people who worked their asses off in jobs that nobody else is willing to do, that keep society going, and that waked him the fuck up in terms of belittling anyone who's not in a major city that keeps this country going. And he ended up becoming their patron saint because nobody was listening to them.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, nobody wants those lettuce washing jobs, and then you go to, the people who want these lettuce washing jobs and take pride in these lettuce washing jobs. It's like, you Americans want these jobs. You need to, and trying to actually, and he went basically from being, a person on this TV show who was showing all these jobs, was funny to watch him kind of suffer, to being an advocate for, you probably want to skip college and get a trade job because
go to trade school.
It's not worth it's not worth going to college and getting in catastrophic debt for the rest of your life for a job you might not get when there's this perfectly good job. There's nothing wrong with working with your hands. There's nothing wrong with doing a dirty job. And it's one of the reasons he's hated a lot by the left, even though he's not a conservative. As far as I know, he's never talked about his politics. He doesn't really talk about it at all. But
he's very nonpartisan. That's the thing.
But he does talk
on that. Yeah,
a lot about this smugness about everybody, in these liberal circles, treating everybody who isn't like them like they're, these moronic inbred hicks that don't deserve, common, just basic respect and decency, and just dehumanizing them.
Yeah.
And he basically went off in this rant, and it was beautiful because it's like, literally, like, if I talk about my politics at all, my career is over. Like, I don't have that option. I work for major companies. I can't tell you my politics, because if I do, people like you will try and destroy me.
Yeah. And
but you want to infer that I'm a Nazi in some way, or a Nazi sympathizer, because I don't think exactly the way you do. And he breaks that down of why, and he goes the fuck off, and even makes a joke of, well, maybe I'm a grammar Nazi. Fuck it.
Yeah. And
it's
he
I think for the most part he's done with the bullshit, because he's not in Hollywood anymore, and he's with these people who are trying to just put food on the table, and they don't give a shit about any of these social issues that are so pressing to the liberals and the these rich white elites in fucking Hollywood that want to shame you for not thinking the way they do or voting the way they did, when in truth people outside those major cities don't give a fuck, because they're just trying to survive. They care about the economy, they care about putting food on the table, they care about jobs. They don't give a shit about which bathroom trans people use. Like, leave us. Like, can we talk about shit that actually matters?
Yeah, but they're the proles, so they don't matter at all. And that's basically, it's a very common thing about, like, that's a lot of the time stems from college and university education. That, I mean, and these are the people that talk most about privilege as well, about how underprivileged people are. But, and they don't care about poor working class people, well, because they're stupid and they vote for Trump.
There's a very good example of that going around right now in Norwegian politics, because we have our election in like 2 weeks. So
you have elections in Norway?
Yeah, we don't do the German thing and just say that a woman is in charge. We actually elect women instead. But
virtual signal.
Yeah. No, but she's actually a conservative as well, so that's double whammy. No, but the one of the major newspapers has this sort of short animated series going where they make fun of the white working class by having like this comfy chair sitting, beer drinking, wife beater wearing, sort of ill-educated middle-aged dude who yells at the TV a lot as one of the characters trying to portray a certain type of voter. And I just keep thinking, do you think that's gonna fucking convince anyone of that ilk to actually vote for you?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is when you look at alright, and I've talked, and it's something that I've just started doing research into the last year or so, is when you look at just look at media in general. Like, American TV and American movies are a perfect example of this. They have, for generations now, depicted anybody who isn't in a major city as dim-witted yokels that aren't worth your time. I'm talking the majority of movies. I'm talking about TV. I'm talking about everything. Even
inbred hicks and rednecks.
Even when they have, settings in those places, the majority, they always have that stereotype in there, that archetype of the dumb redneck yokel. They never give these people any dignity or respect, and they treat like, oh, these places are wastelands and aren't worth living in. And then they wonder why people left in droves, and they wonder why jobs left in droves. And so these people have no allegiance to these major cities and these elites that want to finger wave on them. That's why that CNN fucking report. Basically, they had 8 Trump supporters sit down. All right. And she asked them one question. It's the shortest CNN segment I've ever seen in my entire life. And asked them, do you have anything, do you have a problem with anything Trump said about Charlottesville? And they just all looked. One dude laughed, and the rest of them said, pretty much no. And they immediately cut off the segment. Because these people, like, yeah, it's the shortest fucking segment I've ever seen on a news program ever. It literally lasted like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Enough to realize these people aren't going to be as outraged as we are. And we need to cut off the camera. And it's obvious to people like that you don't care about them. People know that the corporate elite don't give a shit about them. Unless you're a liberal right now trying to push them as the moral authority, which people are actually trying to do now. The reason Trump won was because instead of actually treating people with dignity and respect, you treated like they would have voted for Trump. They wouldn't have. It wouldn't have mattered who in the fuck it was. That's what they don't understand. Trump's just proof of that they would have voted for anybody just to spite you people, because none of you ever talk about their problems.
Because I recently had a discussion on Twitter, and I keep telling, like, my quote-unquote liberal friends, as somebody who's always been a lefty, that you guys don't realize it. People didn't vote for Trump. They voted against. It's, if you listen to what people are saying, like, it's not about who Trump is, it's about who he's not.
Yep.
Yeah. And and when you look at the political dynamics about all of that, like Mike Rowe is the nail on the head. That's how people feel. Even the people who aren't Republicans, like the centrists, like you look at the percentages, and 12% of the people who voted for Bernie voted for Trump. You can only insult people's intelligence so far before they start to fight back. And that's what's happening right now. And Mike Rowe, even, going on that rant is dangerous for his career and what he's trying to do.
Well,
saying very common sense things.
Yeah, but he hasn't worked in that environment for years now, so I don't think that he's necessarily I don't think that he necessarily cares that much, because he works a lot for companies that want to recruit people that are interested in doing those types of jobs. That's what he does now. He's a consultant to help people get those types of jobs. He's done a lot of good work for a lot of people, and I don't think that necessarily he gets enough credit for what he has done, and that's one of the reasons why I like him. But anyways, we are approaching our final destination, I guess. So I'm gonna end the show with a joke.
Are you sure it's not the final solution?
No, we're not there yet.
Sound appropriate, Michael.
It's London.
Jesus Christ, dude! I just had a black guy speaking German on my on this podcast. This is scary.
German, not real German.
No, but anyways,
I just want to point out how desperately he had to point out that it was a black guy just said that.
Yeah,
yeah. Why is that important?
Because I needed to make sure that people understood that there's no on this podcast. Anyways. Before we end, I'm gonna end with a joke by Keld, but I'm gonna rephrase it a bit. We've been going through a lot of dirty things this podcast, but at least nothing is as dirty as working for Joss Whedon. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night.
Are we?